Greetings from the gateway to the Rockies, where we're all set for the first ever Battle of the Roses in the Northern Super League, presented by BMO. Nigel Reid in the booth alongside Jessica Lisi, welcoming you to McMahon Stadium, where the Wild Roses of Calgary are ready to tangle thorns with the Montreal Roses for the first time in NSL history. Calgary aiming for their first ever win on home turf, but they face a stern test against the unbeaten league leaders. Montreal boasts 3 wins and a draw in their opening 4 games. So, Jess, Calgary have home advantage, but it's Montreal who've been setting the standards so far this season.
Yeah, absolutely. I think one thing that Montreal has continued to bring from match to match is their resilience, and that has made such an impact on their ability to find the back of the net and just continue to win games. And I think with Calgary, they've done well throughout the season, but last game, one thing that really wasn't there for them was that intensity. So I think if they're able to come into today, match Montreal's intensity, we're in for a really great match.
Let's focus for a moment on the Calgary attack and highlight Sarita Thurton and what she brings to this team.
Yeah, this is a player that has been great for Calgary in the minutes that she's gotten. She does well to provide service in the box, and not just any service. She looks up, she's aware of the runners in the box, is able to find people. They just haven't been able to get on the end of it, and that is their biggest issue right now. But I do think Sarita Thurton is not afraid. She's hungry for goal. You see her here trying to strike from distance. Just overall a big impact player for them.
Lydia Bedford, the head coach of the Calgary Wild, makes 3 changes for the visit of Montreal. Christy Gray, Janaea Robertson and Danielle Steer come into her starting 11.
Yeah, I think Danielle Steer is going to be huge for them, being able to get in the box and create a really big attacking presence, because that is something, again, that they just need to capitalize in the box right now.
Joining us from pitch side now is Calgary Wild's attacker Sarita Thurton. Sarita, you had that opportunity to play the first home game last weekend. You didn't get the result that you wanted necessarily, but what did you learn and what did your teammates learn from that first home game?
I think we definitely learned that even if we aren't playing our style of soccer, we still have the resilience to get through the game. I think it was good that even though we didn't play the way that we wanted, we still got that point, which is really important throughout this season.
And now you're up against the league leaders, Montreal, another tough test for you today. I'm sure you want to put on a better performance in front of your home fans.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And how are you going to manage that against a team that hasn't lost yet?
I think just treating it like every other game. I think throughout the season so far, we've worked to grow from each game, so that's what we're going to do. Learn from our mistakes from last game, but also build. We watched a lot of film this week on how we played, but also Montreal. So I think just focusing on those points and growing from last week, I don't see why we won't be successful today.
Let's turn the page, Jess, and focus on Montreal. One player who's certainly caught the eye so far this season, Hayley Whittaker.
Yeah, Hayley Whittaker has been huge for Montreal. She's been a great impact for them coming up that right flank. They found a lot of success on it. You see her get the balls in the box. An assist here. The previous clip was her scoring a goal. She's just somebody that is very resilient. She embodies everything Montreal wants on both sides of the ball. And this is another example. Her ability to get back and fight right to that final moment. She does not let anyone get by her. She's reading the play, starting the attack for Montreal to continue to create dangerous chances.
So how does Whittaker fit into the Montreal starting 11, her familiar right-back role? There are 3 changes for the Roses. Anna Karpenko back in goal, and then Ali Hess returns in midfield, and Lara Schenk of Germany gets a first start.
I think Ali Hess being back in the midfield is going to be huge for them. She's shown her ability on both sides of the ball and has just been a great impact for them.
Joining us from pitch side is Montreal Roses defender Hayley Whittaker. Hayley, good start to the season, a goal and an assist already. How have you managed to settle down and fit in so impressively so far?
It's been the transition's been really smooth, and I give a lot of thanks to the staff and the team and the atmosphere that they've cultivated for us. So I really enjoyed it so far, and I'm excited to continue.
I'm sure you are. 4 games in, Montreal still unbeaten. How do you extend that record today in Calgary?
It's staying focused and not overlooking our mission, which is the most important game is the next game and not looking too far in the future. And it's respecting every opponent, because every team in this league is good and it can be anyone's game at any moment. So it's staying focused to our mission and doing what we do best in practice day in and day out. So that's what we do today.
The weather could be better today. It's cloudy, there's some rain in the air, it's around 12 Celsius. Perfect for fans and players alike, as the two teams, the Calgary Wild and the Montreal Roses, take the field in preparation for kickoff. It is week 5 of the Northern Super League. We're at the McMahon Stadium in Calgary, Alberta, for the first ever matchup between the Calgary Wild and the league-leading Montreal Roses. And we are all set to go. And Jess, you've mentioned it already. Montreal Roses playing in their away kits with white jerseys and red shorts have set the standard so far in the opening weeks of the NSL. Any reason to suspect they won't continue that good form today?
No, you know what? I think that last game was the first time we sort of saw them in the face of real adversity, and we saw them sort of rush their decision making. They've been so great and so compact and so confident on the ball, but I do think in the first half of their last game, they just dominated. So I would love to see them continue that. I think that they're a very capable team. They have a lot of talented players, but more than anything, again, I spoke about their resilience, and I think that's the biggest thing for them.
As far as the Wild are concerned, this is their second consecutive home game. We spoke to Lydia Bedford a couple of days ago about that performance. She wasn't particularly enamored with what her players produced in that first home game. Part of the problem, she suspected, were the pitch conditions. She was talking about a sticky surface, and I know you know about that, playing in those conditions.
Yeah, that has to be the worst, playing on new turf. Right. Not only do the turf burns suck, but it definitely is sticky, just having to find your footing. So I think, both sides will have to face that and play through it today. But, as the season goes on, that's just something that they're going to get used to and find their footing with.
Our referee today, by the way, is Canadian FIFA referee Marie-Soleil Baudouin, originally from Quebec City, but has made her home in Halifax, Nova Scotia for many years. Both teams coming off 0-0 draws last time out. Calgary with that 0-0 against the Ottawa Rapid, and Montreal also held to a goalless draw by Halifax. So let's hope all those missteps will be averted today and we see plenty of goals.
I hope so. Who doesn't love goals?
We all love them, and goals change games.
And there's been some beautiful ones so far in this league.
Well, they certainly have. And let's talk about Latifa Abdou. Wears 99, generally plays on the wing to start with for the Roses. I mean, she doesn't score tap-ins, does she?
She doesn't. If she can find a way to smack that ball from distance, she is getting it done. Just a very talented player, and I also think she's going to have a very big role today, especially when you do look at these tactical situations. You have Montreal in that 4-4-2 that we've been seeing them in. They're just a team that has been great on that right flank specifically, and you have a 3 in the midfield. There are those flank options and that impact on both sides of the field.
Early intervention there from the Dutch centre back Maaike Rolfsema, who interestingly wears number 9. She's a central defender. Answers on a postcard, please, as far as that's concerned. But she's an accomplished centre back, and plays alongside Michaela Moore, the New Zealand international, at the back. And there is our referee, as referenced, Marie-Soleil Baudouin. Michaela Moore already has a couple of goals under her belt, and here she is on the ball. Calgary Wild on their dark blue jerseys with the red numbers, and the fans here in good numbers, hoping to see a little more life offensively from the Wild. That was really kind of missing last weekend.
Yeah, it was, and I think one thing that Coach Bedford mentioned to us, Nigel, on that call was, wanting to win that midfield battle. And I think that's going to be huge for them. You have Savitsky and you have Doherty Howard, who have been huge for them in creating attack, specifically Doherty Howard in going forward, but Savitsky has provided that balance to allow Doherty Howard to get forward. So I think that midfield battle, being able to battle out with Hess and Bilbao, is going to be huge, because those are two players that really run the show for Montreal and for this Montreal side. So I think that midfield battle is going to be a big challenge for them today, but if they can come out on top, it'll be huge for them.
Ali Green with the initial ball forward. Runs all the way through to Anna Karpenko. Has one clean sheet already to her credit so far this season. One of the 3 changes made by Robert Rositiu, the head coach of the Roses. Maybe he hasn't got to that stage where he has to choose a number 1 and a number 2, and that's always difficult for a coach.
Yeah, but it's a good problem to have. You want to have your job be made hard, because there's so many players on your team that are talented, and I think that's a perfect example. Both of them have come out and done big things for their side when they get their minutes. So yeah, it's a hard thing to face, but it's a great issue to have as a coach.
First chance to look at Sarita Thurton down that right-hand side. Tackle comes in, and the referee points away to the corner flag. The first of the contest. Just a glimpse of what we were talking about with Thurton.
Yeah, she's a player that loves to go at you. She's going to try it. She goes right at Shank, and Shank does, this is a great tackle, not allowing that cross in, but if you're going to get anything off of that, if you can't get a cross off, getting a corner is definitely the next best thing.
It will be the captain, Maggie Doherty Howard, to take the corner. She tends to take most of the set pieces towards the penalty spot. It's going to come all the way through. Chances here. And in the end, it fell to Christy Gray, but her shot was deflected behind for a second successive corner.
This is a great ball in. Doherty Howard has been phenomenal for them in her ability to get the ball in. I would have loved to see her try it with her left foot. I really would have. I think that she could have struck that with her left foot, potentially got a better angle, but good on her to be able to bring it down and attempt to get it on goal and win another corner out of it. Early
pressure from the Wild as they look for that early go-ahead goal against the leaders of the NSL. In the end, Karpenko got a fist on it. Wasn't the most convincing goalkeeping, but the break could be on here. As far as Montreal, it's 3-on-2 initially. Defenders coming back, and in the end, Grace Stordy. Listen to the ovation for Stordy.
Another great ball in by Doherty Howard, and this is what you want. You want that hunger, you want that intensity, you want people putting their body on the line. But one thing that Montreal continues to do well is find those transitional moments and attempt to capitalize on them. It's just unfortunate for them that Sauvé wasn't able to get the shot off and it was blocked, but they're very good in those transitional moments.
Early promise for the Calgary Wild. Just one win so far this season. And that was a big win on the east coast of Halifax by 4-1. Up against not only the league leaders but also the league's leading scorers. Roses have scored 6 and only conceded 2 in their opening 4 games, so clearly they are organised defensively. Moore at the back for Stordy. Important block a moment ago. Thurton coming back to get involved on that right-hand side, but nowhere to go. And Montreal just growing into the game. Everybody wants a touch of the ball. Karpenko playing sweeper-keeper. This is Julia Lees. Whittaker couldn't control it. It will be a Montreal ball, and Whittaker's after it and wants to get on with it quickly. Whittaker still available. Here she is. Trying to go round the back, gets the early cross in. It's a dangerous cross, sailed across the top of Stephanie Bukovic. Wasn't anybody there. Take the chance, back into the area it goes again. Good header from Moore. She's already busy. Here come Montreal. Looking for that early breakthrough. Backhand, and then across the face of goal. There's a coming together between Bukovic and the defender. Ball ended up behind, but the Calgary goalkeeper may need some attention here.
This is a good turn, good recognition by Paquin to play this out wide to Sauvé, who does well to get the ball across. And Abdou really putting her body on the line. Obviously, unfortunate that both of them sort of got a knock out of that, but they're both okay, it looks like, hopefully. So I just think that one thing that Montreal has lacked in each of their games, as well as they've done in the attacking third at creating things, is getting numbers in the box and really putting their body on the line to get the ball in the back of the net. And Abdou, you know, showing that obviously you can put, they are very capable of putting their body on the line and creating something out of it, a dangerous chance at that.
Abdou is back on her feet, as is Bukovic. Let's have another look at Whittaker's early contribution, hugging that right touchline, went round the fullback.
Yeah, the combination play between her and Abdou is something that has brought them so much success so far, and she does well. She continues to put the ball in the box. Again, just not enough numbers crashing the box on that, but good delivery by her.
Calgary turn it over in a dangerous position. Plenty of white shirts looking to get forward again. Boychuk is looking to get on the end of it. Stordy again was alert to the danger. Sauvé into the area again. They can't tackle her now. Down she goes. So, Tanya Boychuk. No suggestion of a penalty. Montreal beginning to make their presence felt as an attacking force. One just behind for a goal kick.
One thing Tanya Boychuk is going to do is she is going to go at you. Give her a bit of space, she's going to find it. She's able to split both Moore and Stordy. Stordy does a good job at getting back. Not too sure if it's a PK exactly, but you know, I appreciate the attempt at winning one. As a fellow forward, I love that.
Well, as you say, Boychuk's strength, apart from finishing, is that ability to run at a defender, which can frighten the life out of them.
Yeah, it's not fun to have someone like her running at you, that's for sure.
Meanwhile, at the other end of the field, Karpenko out of her area for the second time. But be careful here.
It's a very confident thing to do. I would have assumed she would have cleared that a little further down the pitch when she's so far out of her net, but very confident by her.
And Montreal confident enough to try and play their way out of the back. They need to be neat and compact, and the passes need to be precise and accurate, because things can go wrong in a hurry if they aren't. Almost went wrong there. What a second chance. Paquin volleys it forward. Boychuk comes to collect, dispossessed, and then they're coming together. It's going to be Calgary free kick. Moore wants to get on with it, and Schenk got in the way there. Got to retreat the 10 yards.
It's a big opportunity for Calgary, although it is a little further out. I think you're able to get a good ball in here. We've seen them. They are very hungry in front of the goal so far in this first 12 minutes on all the set pieces that they have gotten into the box. So excited to see if they're able to get on the end of this.
Michaela Moore waiting for the signal to resume. Here it comes. Maybe something off the training field. That right-hand side. 3 or 4 to aim for in the box. First cross is charged down. Second angle. That's a better delivery. Should be Karpenko's, and is. Saw it hanging in the air, made her mind up early. Calgary looking again menacing, but not getting into the area. By the way, I can confirm that Lara Schenk was shown a yellow card for the delay of game for that free kick. So first caution of the day for Lara Schenk. There she is, the German left back. On her first start in the NSL. And now she's got to behave herself for a long time. She doesn't want to be diving in, because I'm sure if you followed this game, you know that 2 yellows equals a red, and this early in the game, it might just be an issue for her later on.
Yeah, you don't want to be in that spot, especially, first start. She's been doing well with the minutes that she's gotten in a couple of the matches that we've seen her appear in, and I think that would be a horrible thing, not only for herself, but also for this Montreal side, as she does make a great impact for them in that left back role. I think one thing that Calgary is doing very well right now is they're not allowing Montreal any time and space. In the midfield that Montreal is outnumbered with only Bilbao and Hess, whereas Calgary has Robertson, Doherty Howard, and Savitsky doing very well to close them down, not allow them to get on the ball, and apply that intense pressure.
Calgary throw, just about on halfway. Green will take it. Yeah, it's been very well contested in the first 15 minutes, hasn't it? I mean, nobody really getting a lot of time on the ball. Abdou inside.
No, to your point, Nigel, I spoke about if Calgary can match Montreal's intensity, then this is going to be a fun game to watch. And as we've seen, they've really stepped up. There's none of that half-heartedness going into tackles that Coach Bedford mentioned to us that we saw last game for Calgary. And I think that, Montreal continues to try to catch them in those transitional moments, and they've done well, but unfortunately they're not able to get on the end of them. But they just need to continue to bring that intensity and provide overloads in the flank areas if they want to find something.
Lees is just going to shepherd it behind and does so successfully. Long ball forward from Green, and that was Danielle Steer trying to get on the end of it. Steer, one of 3 changes for Lydia Bedford. The others, Christy Gray and Janea Robertson. Worth mentioning that Carly Johnson, their Australian striker, is on the bench today. May see her later on if needed, if they need different attacking options. But she did say she was carrying a bit of a niggle, came off in the last game, and it's also worth mentioning that Johnson has just received her first call-up to the Australian senior squad. And Lydia Bedford saying that she doesn't want to deprive her of the chance of representing her country internationally at senior level.
Yeah, that's a huge opportunity for her. She's been great for this Calgary side in the games as she's played. We've seen her score goals. We've seen her contribute to building the attack. But I do think that, having Steer step in today is a big moment for her and will bring some fresh legs. We haven't seen too much of her, so big moment for her. But Callie Johnson has obviously been a big impact for this Calgary side, and so excited for her to be able to represent her country at the highest level.
So Steer leads the line. It's a late challenge from Surrey, BC. Christy Gray on the receiving end, and another yellow card for this challenge.
Yeah, this is definitely a bit... She got the worst end of that. I mean, that just looked painful, to be honest with you. It looks like both of them sort of misread it, ran into each other more than anything. No one intentionally went in there to hurt the other.
So we'll restart with a Calgary free kick. And Rolfsummer. Vertical ball forward. Was that a push in the back? I think it might have been. It was.
Bilbao is not afraid to put her body on the line. We've seen her time and time again go through people's backs, make those late tackles. She's very good defensively when her timing is on, but that wasn't very necessary to go through the back there.
Having just received a yellow card, she, like Schenk, will also have to be careful. So Doherty Howard, who is nursing a shoulder injury, but clearly wanted to play. She got clattered in Lydia Bedford's word last weekend, but back for more, leading the Calgary Wild, and an influential player. Already a goal and an assist for Doherty Howard. It's not the most convincing header from Abdu. Gets a second chance and pumped forward, but easy enough for Bukovic.
You can see right now Montreal really is looking for those transitional moments. Abdu looking up, recognizing that she did have her players, and she trusted that they were going to be able to win that foot race, but unfortunately just hit that a little too hard.
Good pressure from Abdu there, which prompted the error, and another throw for the Roses. 3 straight wins to start the season, and then held by the Halifax Tides last time out. And when you've had that sort of a start, albeit a new season, new teams for everybody, I mean, that just helps the confidence and the self-belief, which is so important, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely it is. I think when, you're coming into a season, it's all new players. No one has really played together before. You're having to learn the new tactics of your coach. Just getting to know everyone is already a big step in its own. And I think that this side has grown in each match, and that's what shows their resilience and just their focus and their trust in their coaching staff. But yeah, definitely big for your confidence going into each match, knowing that you guys have found success as a team, and they've done it in really good fashion.
Whittaker earned, 7 or 8 meters there, and we'll get another throw. Lydia Bedford directing operations for the home team as best she can from the bench. Christy Gray had a touch there. It's going to break for Charlotte Bibeau in midfield for the Roses. And Lee's safety first. Alongside Lucy Capadonna, the central defensive partner. Clever by Pacan. Now then, can they make something happen here? Sauvé on that left wing. Matched up by Story. Came at an awkward height and an awkward bounce, but Moore managed to deal with it comfortably. Roses trying to press, Wild looking for an exit strategy. And again, the visitors pick it up in midfield. Another chance to build and put pressure on the Calgary goal. And back with Whittaker.
You're seeing Calgary sit in that mid to low block, just really allowing them to play, but attempting to apply a little bit of pressure just to force them to play a certain way. You see Steer getting a little higher than her teammates to just force them one way.
Abdu couldn't control it. It's a clever turn from Sawicki. Now Thurton's got some room into the area. Will she take the shot on? Side netting, might have done better. She had a clear run on goal, Saria Thurton, but couldn't hit the target.
Yeah, it's unfortunate she couldn't finish that. She continues to do very well at taking her space. This is a great turn by Savitsky, being able to evade that pressure and then looking up the recognition to play that through ball. Great timing. She takes her touch across. She does everything right, but she tries to go to that close corner, and I just think that's a very hard angle. At that point, you got to try to hit it to the far post or potentially get that early cross in for runners.
Real chance for Calgary. They got him behind there. Terrific ball forward by Savitsky, as you said, to pick out the run of Thurton, and just didn't have the composure to finish it. To be fair to Karpenko, she came off her line and narrowed the angle, but you would have thought that she would have at least tested the goalkeeper there.
Yeah, it was definitely not the most clinical attempt on goal.
Very diplomatically put. It remains 0-0 at McMahon Stadium. Midway through the first half. Referee just checking the fitness of Hayley Whittaker.
You see Whittaker do a really good job here, but you also see how many numbers are around her. Doherty Howard just giving her a little bit of a push there. You know, thankfully she's okay. She got up. She's all good. But yeah, definitely a player that's to watch. We spoke about her earlier. She's very good at getting out of those tight spaces and creating chances for her team in build-up.
Sporting gesture from Abdu. Throw it back to the opposition. And Michaela Moore thought about going long, then decided to call her own number. Good press from Montreal, forcing Calgary back into their own penalty area. Chance again to build from the back. Rolfsummer. All inside for Savitsky. Oh, that's a tug on the shirt there. That should certainly be a yellow card, I would have thought.
She didn't do much to hide that.
Not really.
Oh, wow.
Well, it's a lecture for the Calgary captain.
It's interesting. This is a great step in by Bilbao. I'm sorry, that is most definitely a yellow card. I'm not sure how she got away with that. She had no effort in trying to hide that at all from the referee.
Calgary captain gets away with one there. She was dispossessed and then quite clearly pulled the shirt of her opponent. The referee decided that wasn't worthy of a yellow card. I'm sure it was at the very least a final warning, let's put it that way. So, Megan Sauvé poised to deliver, left-footed. Again, maybe something off the training ground. That's interesting. It's offside. It's not going to count. Ball in the back of the net from Bibeau. But her teammate, as the ball was played through, had strayed beyond the last defender.
I was going to mention it would be great to have a right footer getting that in to be able to drop it. So her finding Bilbao, who attempted to send that. This is a great ball in, just wasn't able to time the run enough to stay onside, but that was a great effort by them. Good initial service.
Flag was raised early, the goal is chalked off, but it was a decent delivery, and alarm bells were ringing once again inside the Calgary penalty area. They might be again very soon. Moore gets an important foot in. And Thurton looking for an option. Finds one. As Steer makes her way forward. Should be the keepers. Too close to Karpenko.
A little bit of a hard hit there on Karpenko.
Well, I'll tell you about us goalkeepers. They do say that, you know, if you're going to play that position, well, probably can't say it in this day and age. Anyway, we're going to Whittaker. I think you know what I was going to say. Whittaker trying to launch the ball over the top. I'll keep my thoughts to myself on that one for the time being.
Well, as a former player who was crashing the box, I will say that the goalkeepers always get the calls going their way, so.
No harm done. Here is Lees. And Capadona. Just patient build-up play from Montreal. On the back foot for the first 3 or 4 minutes, but they've certainly announced themselves in this game in the last 20 minutes or so. Whittaker picks it up. It's going to find its way back to Lees. Waiting for the option, which finally came, but it didn't come off and given away. Thurton onto it quickly. Steer making her way into the area. And they keep the move going. They might be able to with Christy Gray. It's going to come to Thurton again, off the crossbar from the volley. And Karpenko was beaten. And the frame of the goal saved the Montreal Roses.
That's just too easy. There's no reason that Thurton should be able to get on that ball off of a cross that way. She had too much time and space to be able to strike that. I'm mean, good on her. That was a great attempt on goal.
Back it comes across. Will it stay in play? It won't. It's gone behind. It will be a goal kick. But Thurton on the volley, great technique.
This is a great ball in, first off by Christy Gray, being able to find someone, and Thurton just redirecting that towards goal, hits the crossbar, just very well with it. But Montreal just allowing way too much time and space. You see Sauvé a little bit too far off of her. You cannot give Thurton that time and space, specifically when you're at the top of the 18.
It was very nearly Sarita Thurton's first NSL goal, but we highlighted off the top of the show just how much work she gets through getting down the right-hand side, providing the ammunition. Well, she was almost the goal scorer herself there a moment ago. As they come forward again, Doherty Howard. Reverse ball, and it's going to come back to Christy Gray. We've seen plenty of action in these opening 28 minutes. Back for Ali Green. And the Dutch player Rolfsema, so the New Zealander Moore. Again for Thurton on that right-hand side. Well, sets the opportunity to get the ball in the area. I think it might be Story who's well up. There it is. In a tangle with Sauvé.
Some more shirt pulling.
Apparently it's legal now.
It is.
It is if the referee doesn't spot it, I suppose.
This is true.
Well, in terms of refereeing, to be absolutely fair, they don't come much more experienced than Marie-Solo Baudouin. She's refereed at World Cups, with Olympics, and there isn't much that she hasn't seen in her long and distinguished career.
We also, Nigel, spoke a lot about Sarita Thurton and her ability on that right flank, but Grace Doherty is another player that I think she's done great things for this Calgary side, her ability to go forward, get the ball in, and if not, having that combination play with Thurton that has created so many dangerous chances for this Calgary side throughout the season so far.
Green for Gray, that's a good combination up the left-hand side so far for Calgary. Savitsky takes over. Back for Rolfsema. To tuck it round the corner. Wild thought there was a foul there. Referee not interested. And it's back for Karpenko. Capadonna.
It's a great read.
Turn it over again. Calgary beginning to build up a head of steam here. Got to be careful. Quickly in on that occasion. Captain bounces away. Now this might bounce, fortunately, and just wide in the end, and it would have counted. Miscommunication at the back, and Daniel Stier had to take it quickly. In the end, it rolled agonizingly wide of that far post.
Sorry, Nigel. That opportunity is coming off of the great pressure that they've been applying. You're seeing they're not allowing Hess to be able to turn and face forward. Danielle Stier just being able to get on that, just hitting it a little too wide. It seemed like she was able to wrap her foot around it the way she wanted. But I think that they're going to continue to get more opportunities that way by applying that pressure and not allowing anyone to turn and face forward, specifically Bilbo and Hess.
Well, there have been genuine chances at both ends of the field. And that's always a good sign for an entertaining game. That's what we hope it will turn out to be. Green with the throw for the Calgary Wild. Start the day in 5th place out of 6 teams against the unbeaten league leaders. But if they win this, they could vault up 2 or 3 spots. So plenty of incentive for both sides. Savitsky did well. Again, battling qualities in midfield for the Roses. Abdou wants an option, finds one in Bibo. And Abdou had to check a run or she would have been offside.
Seems like right now for this Montreal side, they're seeing the ideas. You see the gears turning in their brains, being able to see the runs, but their execution of that final pass is just not coming together. They're looking a little disconnected in the attack. Although the idea is there, the run is there, it's just not quite coming off. And we're not used to seeing that from this side. So they just sort of need to get their bearings together and regroup and be able to continue this half and potentially get one.
Rolfsummer striding forward. Lays it off to Gray. Storey might fancy a run. Right idea. Again, it was trying to release Thurton down that right-hand side. But just misplaced by the captain. Plenty of play down both flanks. Crosses, there's the current tally. Wild 7, Roses 4. And that's off and away in behind back four. So to get down the flanks, get those crosses in, worry the defenders, make the goalkeeper make a decision whether they're coming or whether they're staying at home.
We're seeing Montreal in a lot of chances in the sense of they have to send that in that transitional moment. They're looking long, they're looking direct, but it's also because Calgary, you know, they're not allowing them to build out of the back. They're applying that pressure. They're being on the front foot. They're bringing that intensity that Coach Bedford spoke about wanting to see from them and challenge them after seeing their performance last game. And I think that they've really stepped up this game and they are giving the Roses a bit of a hard time.
Green in possession under pressure from Abdu. It's a very good point that you make. If you can, well, just break off there a moment because Bukovic was trying to play football 25 yards out of her area and almost got in a mix-up with Moore.
Not sure that was the best decision to be that far out when you have Montreal players that close.
Well, I referenced this in the last time I covered a Calgary Wild game. Stephanie Bukovic is a lot more than just a soccer player. She's a seasoned freestyler, if you know what I mean, and she can actually play, she can juggle, she can do all the clever things, but sometimes you just need to be a goalkeeper.
Yeah, absolutely. You gotta pick and choose your moments. It's great to have a keeper that's, you know, comfortable and confident with the ball at their feet, but that far out of your net, it leaves your team very vulnerable, especially when you have players like Paquin or Boychuk that are ready to pounce at all times.
Thurton again has room. She's already threatened once and got her angle taken away there. And this is going to be a free kick in a really interesting position for Calgary.
This is another thing. Her mentality to go at people causes defenders to make mistakes. Just like that. She's getting tripped up. Sauvé wasn't able to move her feet quick enough. She catches Thurton's foot, and this results in a really dangerous opportunity for the Wild.
Still looking for the deadlock to be broken in Calgary. Last 10 minutes of the first half. Maggie Doherty-Howard, captain of the Wild, may deliver this right-footed. There's a left-footed option as well in Ali Green, who makes way. Doherty-Howard, low, flattish trajectory. Doherty-Howard again, trying to get it back into the area. It's just going to run beyond Gray. She wants a corner. The referee's not going to give her one. Just going back to your point about that high press. I mean, it's very effective. It does worry players. It doesn't give them time to settle, to decide what they're going to do. But if you're going to play that style, it takes really exceptional fitness to see that through for 90 minutes.
Yeah, it absolutely does, and we're seeing them balance it quite well because they are allowing Montreal to play out of the back to a certain extent. They're giving them that comfortability until they can find their moment to really pounce and step, and what they're doing a really good job with, again, is when they have players back to goal. Montreal has players facing their own net. That has always been something throughout all my years of playing. Every coach has always said that is the moment to go because it's very difficult to get out of that position when you are facing your own goal.
Savitsky, and Moore needs to make this hers, and did under pressure. Worrying moment there, and Thurton maybe in behind here again. Thurton the ball across, couldn't quite connect with Steer, and last-ditch defending from Montreal. But right now, Calgary look the likelier of the two teams to open the scoring.
Yeah, Thurton is causing Shank a lot of problems on that flank. It seems like she's not able to keep up with her pace, but also isn't doing a great job at being able to avoid those crosses. It was unfortunate for Steer not being able to time that perfectly, where it did hit her boot, but went out of bounds. But again, we want those numbers in the box, right? That's something that Coach Bedford spoke about. She wants numbers in the box. She wants the intensity, and I think right now they're bringing it. This is also a great ball in by Moore to be able to find that. So again, just a great team effort by them. Could have been a little better on the finish, but overall great build-up from this Calgary side.
Suffice to say, Sarita Thurton is causing havoc at the back for Montreal. So far, they have survived. Throw from Lara Schenk. It's her first Northern Super League start. And reminding you as well, she is riding that early yellow card, so it needs to be clean and tidy. And those challenges need to be made. She is basically facing it up against Thurton. It's a tough ask, isn't it?
It definitely is. I was just about to say, it's not an easy battle to be in.
Wild have another free kick taken by Moore. Purity Howard takes over. Clever ball for Savitsky. Now once again, Thurton, this time the early ball. Lees goes to meet it. Second chance to clear. Finally, it is booted up towards halfway. And Rolfsummer had the composure to cushion it back to Bukovic. Rolfsummer up for more. But it's really been one of those games. I mean, I know it's goalless. There have been chances. I wouldn't want to put money on which team is actually going to score first here, because we've seen, haven't we, that in their own moments, both teams have the ability to penetrate the other's defense.
Yeah, we've seen Montreal catch Calgary a couple times in transitional moments, but we have seen Calgary, I would say, be a little more purposeful in their possession moments. They are doing very well in building up. They're very confident. They're doing well to find Thurton down that flank. They're doing well to get the balls in the box. So I think that right now I would say that Calgary has been a little more purposeful and dominant when they do have the ball. Montreal seems to be rushing at times when they are in that final third, or really in those clearances and trying to find the transitional moments, just overhitting it.
Abdul and Whitaker outfoxing Christy Gray. Do again playing temporary right back. They really need to see her further up the field. Karpenko, safety first for Capadonna. As far as Rolfsummer, Green takes over, almost intercepted by Survey. But safely back with Bukovic. Final 5 minutes of a really interesting, well-contested first half. That's a little bit aimless. But for the time being, both goalkeepers have the clean sheet they started with. Lees. Karpenko. And Capadonna. Finds Pacan. Haven't seen too much of Pacan yet. Whitaker trying to play those precise balls forward. Possession so important, but you need to play possession with some pace as well to really unhinge the other team's backline.
Yeah, there has to be quality in the passes. It can't just be a soft pass. There has to be intensity behind it. And again, we've seen this team be able to do that time and time again. It's just lacking a little bit right now. There isn't that, they're not finding and connecting in the final third. The idea is there, the run is there, but just not quite coming together for them.
Just had a glance here at the possession stats, and it's almost dead even. Just shaded by the Wild. Mostly by Thurton, first time ball this time. It's going to drift out of play. Had a time to compose herself before that playing that ball out to the left-hand side.
It's a good idea to look for that switch, but in that specific case, she really just had to look over her shoulder. She did have a player making that run on the flank, and I think that they would have had a much better opportunity, a much more clear pathway than Gray did on this far side, and being able to create something for them.
Boychuk couldn't collect the throw-in cleanly, and so maybe a chance late in the half for Calgary Wild. Doherty Howard, plenty forward. Rolfsummer further back, and Moore will take over. Storey to her right. Moore comes back inside. Savitsky, Storey, Savitsky again growing in stature into the game. And the curse of the commentator, of course, as soon as you start complimenting players, they give the ball away. But credit Savitsky, she's won it back again. Doherty Howard was fouled. Felt the push from behind. And a free kick inside the final minute of the first half.
There's quite a few free kicks that we've seen the Wild be able to win. So I do think it would be in their best interest to capitalize on these, because these are the opportunities you want back at the end of the game. You're hoping you were able to capitalize on them. So we know that the delivery's there. We've seen the intensity of them and the grit they have in the box. So excited to see if they're able to get one here.
Doherty Howard, the architect. Decent ball into the area towards the back post. Danger here. Just a knife, white shirts in the way. And Abdu belts it clear.
This is a great ball in again, great delivery by her. Can't quite see who that is that sends it back across. I believe it's Robertson. She does very well to redirect it. She puts her body on the line, she challenges it. They're just not able to get and win that second ball, but great ball into the box, and that intensity and grit from Robertson is what you want on those opportunities.
Calgary are getting closer. Will they have another opportunity before half-time? We are into 1 minute of stoppage time at the end of this first half, and it's been pretty even Stevens. Wild perhaps just edging it. Just about 30 seconds to play. Nobody wants to make a mistake now. Rolfsummer will bring it forward, Green ahead of her. High passes the New Zealander, and the touchline as well. Out of play for a throw. Final few seconds as Whittaker takes the throw. Abdu in close attendance, and Marie-Soleil Baudouin blows her whistle for half-time. A chance, a half peppered with chances at both ends, Jess.
Yeah, I think. Sorry, Nigel. I didn't mean to cut you off. Yeah, I definitely think that this is an exciting game so far. We see both sides bringing great things, but I do think that Calgary kind of came out on the better end of that. We're seeing them be a lot more purposeful in their possession and creating more dangerous opportunities. Would just like to see Montreal connect a bit more, but they have caught them a few times in transitional moments. Strong
start from Calgary. They finished the half on an upbeat mode as well, but at half-time at McMahon Stadium, it is 0-0 between Calgary and Montreal.
listen, after this next segment, you may like Amy Walsh a bit less or a bit more because we are going to have her go on record and pick her top 3 goals of the NSL season so far. And there have been some beauties to pick from, excuse me. So let's start. Number 3, who you got?
Number 3, I've got Mina Lee for the Ottawa Rapid, and I love this goal for the individual brilliance shown. It's amazing solo effort. You've got great runs. You've got a DB Pridham taking defenders away, but there's a determined Mina Lee who's never giving up on this, finds a little bit of daylight, and slips it past the goalkeeper. So I love this goal too because it's different from all the other types of goals that we've seen so far, and we've seen some high quality goals, Kate.
It's so true, and I remember on the call you guys were saying she kept going and going and going. She didn't stop, and that was Ottawa's first ever goal, so a heck of a goal.
Absolutely, and it's like me on the desk sometimes, just keep going and going and going, and you reel me back in. We didn't want to reel Mina back in there. We wanted to let her go more.
That's right, just like I never want to reel you back in. But listen, goal number 2, so that was 3.
Yep.
Second best goal of the NSL season so far.
Right, so we've seen some great hits.
Yep.
And honorable mention to Kazaki for her goal just outside the 18. But number 2 here goes to Esther Okoronkwo for AFC Toronto. So she's fed the ball by Pickett, and then she's got acres of space here. And I think she knows instantly, as soon as she receives the pass, that she is taking Allie Green to that inside, favored left foot. Green doesn't close her down, and she's maybe about 20 yards out, and it's the sweetest of strikes where it's always bending far stick. And that is what I think Marko Milanovic and her teammates, but more importantly, Esther Okoronkwo herself, she knows she can do that. So I think we expect more from that from her. But number 2 so far.
I watched that goal about 10 times, the way it curved in.
That's the way it did it.
It was a beauty. Okay, so what could be better than that? Our top goal of the NSL season so far, Amy.
Yeah.
No
this
pressure.
one is an audacious strike. It's a hit, it's bending, there's movement on it, it's a knuckler, if you will, but it's hit with pure power, and that's Latifa Abdu for the Montreal Roses. So when they were away, remember Tanya Boychuk got the opener, but this is away, and all of a sudden, the 3 goals in that first half, and Latifa Abdu, this is the angle that does it for me. She gets that touch, creates some separation between she and the defender, and that's going far stick, a little bit of movement on it, and it bends back to find the stanchion. I love that word so much. My college coach, John Walker, used that for the first time, but it's finding that side netting. That's when you know it's a sweet, sweet strike.
Well, there you have it. Amy Walsh's top 3 goals of the season so far, courtesy of Mina Lee, Esther Okoronkwo, and Latifa Abdu. And if you have any disagreements, it's at Amy13. I'm kidding. Don't at her.
No, seriously, at me.
She likes it. She does like it. And listen, the great news, there were a ton to choose from, and it's only week 5, so we're definitely doing this again.
A warm welcome back to McMahon Stadium in Calgary. It's half-time between Calgary and Montreal. There is no score just, but there have been plenty of opportunities at both ends. Both teams had the chance to find that go-ahead goal. Let's look at some of the highlights from that first 45 minutes, and Calgary looking to get that early goal.
Yeah, they've done well on getting the ball in the box. Doherty Howard is somebody that continues to put good service in for them. This is a good attempt by Gray. You see her try to strike that down. She gets her foot through it, but she's isn't able to get it on frame and gets a corner kick instead.
Another set piece for the Wild, looking for that early goal. This caused problems, and a big save from Karpenko.
And this is the grit you want. Again, another great service in, putting her head through that. You see them fighting to win that. They're just not able to keep it in the box.
Now, Montreal looking to get the lead on foreign soil. Out it goes to Sauvé. And this is dangerous as Abdu clashes with the goalkeeper.
We spoke about wanting to see Montreal crash that box and really put their body on the line, and that's exactly what Abdu did here. Paquin realizing Sauvé is overlapping, being able to find that flank and get the ball in. Unfortunately, wasn't able to redirect that on goal, but it was a great opportunity for them.
Now, this is a wonderful turn from Savitsky, and look at the ball out here for Sarita Thurton in behind. This is the moment at which you would think that Calgary really should have taken the lead.
Yeah, Savitsky just showing her skill and her class and the ability to evade that pressure, but also finding Thurton on the run, and Thurton using all of her speed, but just isn't able to get that on frame. Would have loved to see her hit the other corner instead of going short side.
More from Thurton in just a few moments. Meanwhile, at the other end, Montreal did actually have the ball in the net, but it was ruled out for offside correctly.
This is a good ball in by Bibeau. There was just enough dip to it, but just enough of a floater as well. But Lise wasn't able to time that perfectly, catching herself offside.
Now, talking about Sarita Thurton, how about this for a volley?
Yeah, I would have loved to see this go in. This is a great effort. It was a great ball across by Gray, and then Thurton being able to redirect that towards goal would have been an awesome moment.
He had other opportunities as well. The striker Danielle Steer didn't have much time to react.
And this comes off of Calgary's great pressure. They're not allowing Montreal to build out. Steer being able to regain that and attempt to strike that on goal just went a little wide.
So here we are, the halftime stats. Action in both goal mouths. Just one shot on target, surprisingly enough, despite all those highlights. Calgary edging possession. 2 yellow cards, which might come into play in the second half as far as the Roses are concerned, but it's been pretty even, Steven.
Yeah, I think this is a fair assessment. I think the stats make sense. I think both sides have created a lot, but I also think Calgary has been more purposeful and they've possessed just a tiny bit more. I do think that they've come out on top of that first half, but the Roses are definitely still kicking and putting up a fight.
I've got a feeling goals are coming in the second half. We'll see when we return to McMahon Stadium in Calgary for the second half between the Calgary Wild and the Montreal Roses. Half-time in Calgary, there is no score between the Wild and the Roses. This is the concluding match in Week 5 of the Northern Super League, presented by BMO. Time to review what we've already seen, Jess, so far this week. Let's start with the highlights, I think, between Ottawa and Vancouver.
Yeah, this is a great team goal. Gibson being able to find Forbes, who's making that run, and Pridham doing what she does best and being able to get on the end of that, crashing the box, not leaving much room for error there. And then Nina Lee doing what she does best, being able to drop back and find Pridham, making that run again and breaking the line and picking that corner out so perfectly.
Good finish, 2-0 to the Capital City team, and it would get better for them.
Yeah, this was a fun goal, a lot of outside the foot action, great by Benatti. She starts that, and then she's able to find a Scott who really wants the ball, demanding it, plays it back, and is able to chip the keeper with the outside of her foot. Very cheeky finish and great moment for her. Comprehensive
Victory for Ottawa over Vancouver by 3-0. The fans in Calgary all eager to see goals at McMahon Stadium. No score between Calgary and Montreal at half-time. As we say, Week 5 of the NSL. Let's show you what happens down east in Atlantic Canada. This was yesterday. Halifax Tides against AFC Toronto.
This is a great ball in by Small and great by Barnett to be able to redirect that, strike that out of the air. That is not an easy thing to do and find that corner so beautifully as she did. We saw this Toronto side really be hungry in the final third. They have great interchange. They have good variety in their attack, but there was just a bit of lacking of clinicalness as you're seeing Okoronkwo getting on that, but just not having enough pace and power behind the header. Another great combination play by Hunter and Okoronkwo here. Just really needed to get rid of that a lot earlier. Had she placed that in that far corner with her left foot, if she wanted to take the player on, it just needs to be quicker. There needs to be a lot more quickness from her and more clinicalness in that final third.
Sarah Olai with the goal line clearance at the other end of the field. Well, Euro thought she was in. but last-ditch clearance denied her.
We saw the Tides really start to come alive as that continued. This was a very lucky moment for Toronto and for the Tides not being able to get on the end of that, but we did see their intensity step up and we saw a bit of bright spots for them. You can see how excited Toronto is to be able to get that win. Barnett throwing up the W's there. You'd love to see it.
And so, all 3 points for AFC Toronto. They are now unbeaten in 3. Halifax still chasing that first win of the season. Let's get more reflections on that Halifax-Toronto game from Kate and from Amy.
Kate McKenna and Amy Walsh with you after AFC Toronto defeated the Halifax Tides 1-0 on a rainy afternoon at the Wanderers grounds. And Amy, Colby Barnett really was the hero in this one, scoring at just the 6-minute mark. Take us through this one. What worked well here?
This is AFC Toronto coming out front-footed, dominant, aggressive, not only in the way that they were pressing, but in the way that they were attacking. They were vertical and they were incisive in that final third, and a lot of it was off of the foot of Nikki Small. So here off the throw-in on the restart, you don't really catch Halifax Tides napping because they were seeking to be better on set pieces, but it's just brilliance on the day, a great team goal. Well worked by Small, precise in that cross, and a great finish by Colby Barnett, who's usually playing provider herself off that left flank.
You know, like so many games this season, this really did feel like a tale of two halves. Halifax had their chances in the second half, but they just couldn't get the job done.
They surged back into this match at the end of the first half, maybe 5 or 6 minutes to go. No adjustments in the way of personnel or in the way of shape, because they did tweak the formation. They went from a 4-4-2 to a 4-3-3 in the second half, and it really helped with numbers in the middle of the park and who was dominating possession. So Aduro came in as a substitute, fresh legs, but also provided them an outlet and a target. Karima Lemire was brilliant again on the day. She had a great performance versus the Roses, and she tries to spring blank here, and Cody Yard, a bit of a miscue, throws her hands up, but also says, that's on me, guys. So pro debut last week. She was, I think, reliable today, but you saw the Tides have those opportunities, but just lacked a little bit of incisiveness.
Well, next up, a tight turnaround for both teams. Halifax travels to Vancouver on Wednesday, and Toronto visits Montreal on Thursday.
There is not much time to recover for some of these teams. This is what's coming up in Week 6 on Wednesday at 10 Eastern. We're at Vancouver Rise against the Halifax Tides. Then the following night on Thursday at 7 Eastern, the Roses return home to face AFC Toronto. And next Saturday at 7 Eastern, we're again with the Vancouver Rise as they take on the Calgary Wild. Talking of the Calgary Wild, there is their head coach, Lydia Bedford, making her way back to her technical zone, having watched her team battle to a scoreless half-time score with the unbeaten leaders, the Montreal Roses. I wonder what she might have said to her players at half-time, Jess.
You know, I think she has to be pleased with what she saw. I'm sure she mentioned, wanting to be a little more clinical and getting their foot on the end and threw that ball to hit the back of the net. But we've seen them create great chances, and they've seen them bring that intensity that she challenged them with that they lacked in their last match. So I think that she definitely is heading into the second half confident in her side and happy with that first half performance.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say that Wild were up for it in the first 45 minutes. They caused problems. We looked at the highlights, and when you look at the chances that they created, they might count themselves a little unlucky not to be in front.
There were also moments in the last match where they seemed a little disjointed when you looked at their defensive shape. Coach Bedford mentioned that as well. Players were stepping at different times. They weren't stepping together in unison. So I think that we've seen them this match really pounce on the Roses, not allowing them time and space to build out of their back line, picking their moments to step and apply that pressure. And we've seen them, it result in turnovers quite a few times already.
White shirts, red shorts for the Montreal Roses, looking to extend their unbeaten start of the season to 5 games, 3 wins and a draw so far. The dark blue kits of the Calgary Wild with those red numbers will attack the goal to your right in this second half in front of their own fans at McMahon Stadium. Stephanie Bukovic hopes to complete the 90 with another clean sheet. She already has one this season. Yeah.
I feel him, Nigel.
No substitutes at half-time for either team. Anna Karpenko, time to time playing sweeper keeper at the back, as you expect in the modern game. So, Montreal get us underway at the start of this second half. Attacking the goal to your left. There is no score. Wolfsummer lets it bounce, and that can sometimes be a little dicey, but Vukovic was alert and there in support. And Wolfsummer knocks it up towards halfway. As we said, no changes for either side at half-time. Just reminding you that a couple of the Montreal players, Julia Lees and Lara Schenk, are on yellow cards from that first half. And Tanya Boychuk trying to turn the corner, but nobody had read the play, and behind for a goal kick. Now, let's just turn the page here. What about the visitors' dressing room? What would Robert have said to his players at halftime?
I think right now they're just a little disconnected in the attack. I think that, you know, we're used to this side being so resilient and being so front-footed, but they are getting broken down specifically on that right flank. It's been a little too easy for Calgary to find and create good opportunities. I would also think that he'd mentioned, you know, them feeding into their strength, and that is their flank play and having those overloads, specifically when you are in a 4-4-2 playing against a 4-3-3. You know that the middle is going to be congested. It's going to be very difficult for Bilbao and Hess to be able to find feet, to get the ball to feet and create a lot without high pressure. So I think it would be in their best interest, and I'm sure he mentioned, you know, wanting to use the flanks and just do what they do best and continue to fight to the 90th minute.
Whittaker with the throw. McCown with a chance to turn, poaching the penalty area. But Sarita Thurton much in evidence in the first half. Just overran it there. Just goes to prove she's human after all. A little bit of a misunderstanding. It will find its way to Schenk. Her first Northern Super League start. Jodie Smith is on the bench if necessary. Again, good battling, good engine. Whittaker, now the ball played forward, should be comfortably dealt with. At the back, combination of Queen and Vukovic.
Whittaker once again showing her confidence and not needing a ton of space to make something happen. She's able to take Calgary's players on the line and make something happen.
Nice turn from Abdu. Then she pick out a teammate. Left two players behind in the blink of an eye. Sauvé. Lees, for a moment, thought about it, and then the final shot is disappointing.
This is a good turn by Bilbao, being able to find feet here. Lee's looking up. A bit of a redirection that worked out in their favor, and Hess just really not leaning over that ball, bending back. You can see her chest is basically facing the sky when she struck that, causing it to go way over the frame. But I do think that, you know, you want the confidence to be able to strike from distance. We've seen Hess do it, so I don't mind her trying, but that definitely didn't come off her foot the way she wanted.
Boychuk just overran it again, gave Wolfsummer the chance, and then there was contact after the ball had gone.
I mentioned that flank play, Nigel, for Montreal, but I also think if they do want to, you know, find the play in that central role, you need players like Boychuk and Paquin really dropping off the shoulders of a Savitsky, who's done really well at cutting them off in that first half and not allowing them much time and space on the ball.
Savitsky comes to meet the pass from Wolfsummer. Moving forward towards halfway. It's Steer trying to turn and also hold up the wall, waiting for the attacking players to arrive and support. The breakout from the back came to nothing, unfortunately. So a throw in for the Roses on halfway, to be taken by Lara Schenk. a second throw. Sheng eager to get on with it as the white jerseys begin to funnel forward. Pakan. Abdu looking to turn. Pakan decides to go herself, takes the shot on. She's always rolling wide.
I would have loved if Abdu was able to just get that a little bit more under control and play Whitaker, who's making that overlapping run. She was thankfully able to find Pak Kim, but you see her, she tries to do a bit of, I'm not sure if she was trying to get that over her head or if it just rolled up her leg the wrong way, but she did have Whitaker making the run. Thankfully, Pak Kim was able to get a shot off, but just not the greatest shot.
Misunderstanding between Moore and Storey. Ceding possession rather cheaply, and then back the other way. So Grace Storey with the throw down the line. Maybe possibilities here. Storey dispossessed. Now Steer couldn't get her shot away. Doherty Howard takes over. She's all action, wants to be involved. Thurton trying to turn the corner, will win the corner. Ali Haas sticking to her guns.
In those moments, Nigel, you want your forwards, you want Steer to keep going. She had time, she had space, she was able to strike that. She was inside the 18. You're number 9, you know you can do it, you know you can finish. We've seen her quality. Just would have loved to see her take that. She slowed down and she allowed Montreal to catch up to her and not create anything dangerous out of that.
Talked about quality. The delivery is usually of high quality from Doherty Howard. Outswinger this time, free header. And in the end, the goalkeeper wasn't troubled. But Robertson, I think, managed to get a head on it, completely unmarked.
That's the second one we see Robertson go up for. She does well to win this. She tries to redirect it to that back post, just wasn't able to get it on frame. But this is good delivery, and there's absolutely no reason from the Rosa side that she should be wide open. It's just there's no marking in the box right now, and that is, you know, that could potentially be a goal. That was a great opportunity for the Wild.
Vukovic sends it long, but inaccurately out of play on that far side. So Whitaker will get us underway again. Gray trying to set up another foray down that left-hand side. Will be a Calgary ball. Throw or a free kick is the question. Free kick is the answer. Kayla Moore can be so dangerous at set pieces. Of goals already for her this season. More again. It was meant for Savitsky, but cut off, and here comes Pakan, who decides to go from distance. Maybe spotted Vukovic off her line. Had it been on target, that might have been really interesting.
We spoke about the confidence of Vukovic to be a little too high off her line. This is a good look up by Pakan to realize it. Had that been a little bit further to the left, that was going in. She definitely noticed it, she spotted it, just showing her great soccer IQ and her ability.
Moore spreads it for Storey. Loves to make those lung-busting runs forward in support of Thurton, who's forced to just hold her run for a moment. Savitsky again, increasingly important in midfield. Moore pumps it forward towards the edge of the penalty area. Steer was trying to control it, but Calgary win the throw deep inside Montreal territory. Storey looking for an option. Steer across the face of the penalty area. Green waited for the challenge to come and wins the throw on that far side. Gray under pressure from Whitaker. Dirty Howard trying to turn the corner. Now can she get the cross in? She can. Just too high for Thurton. It'll run all the way across goal and back in again. And Steer ends up in a heap. Ball is still alive. Steer, can she pick out a teammate? Congested penalty area, bodies flying everywhere, and eventually it is cleared out. It's helter-skelter inside the Montreal penalty area.
Just to point out again, Nigel, if you were able to see that, Robertson was open once again in the box. Montreal is right now, you see Sauvé shifting over. She's almost over-shifting. She allowed Robertson to be free at the top of that 18. It's important for the weak side to be aware and shift, specifically in these moments when they are outnumbered in the midfield. There's 3 of them. There's 2 of Montreal. They need to have their weak side midfielder aware, and I just think Sauvé is cheating a little bit.
It's going to come all the way to the Thurton again. Cross or shot, or a chip to the back post. They're getting closer and closer, Christy Gray. The angle was just too tight.
This is a great switch ball by Rolfsema to be able to find Thurton. She's been doing great to live off of the shoulder of Montreal's back line. I thought she was going to strike that, if I'm being honest. I thought she was going to chip that into that back corner. But Gray does well to win that and try to keep it in play. Just wasn't able to get it on goal. Just a little overhit.
Strong start by Calgary Wild in the first 10 minutes of this second half. But still no goals at McMahon Stadium. Second home game for Calgary after being held by Ottawa Rapid last weekend. My goodness, they just want to give their fans a goal, don't they? Savitsky will try and do that, building from the back again, finds more. Taking over as Story, that's clever from Story. Rides one challenge, now she has to be careful. Managed to find Rolfsema. Dirty Howard takes over in midfield. First time ball forward for Gray. And in the end, the corner is conceded. Lees thinks she got a push in the back and should get a free kick, but she's not going to get one. What she is going to get is the task of defending another corner. Not surprisingly, Dirty Howard is over there for the set piece. She does have a short option if they want to change the angle, but there's plenty of dark blue jerseys to aim for. The first one to it was Capadonna, and then in the end it just drifts wide.
We're seeing Calgary continue to push on that front foot, both in the run of play as well as on these set pieces, trying to capitalize, putting their body on the line, finding that grit that, again, we spoke about in their last game was lacking a little bit. So it is great to see them step up in this match and step up to the plate and this challenge that we know that the Roses pose to all of their opponents.
Interesting clearance, and it comes to nothing. It's all very well trying to play your way out of the back. But you've got to know what you're doing, and everybody's got to be alert, ready to play their part. Savitsky trying to dispossess Abdu, just gets away with it. Boychuk trying to get herself involved. The Montreal captain. Will be a Montreal throw on this near side. Schenk with the throw as Montreal prepare their first substitution. Confirm that for you in just a moment. Schenk just finds Whittaker, who had to scamper across to make sure it was her ball.
It's a very dangerous ball to play across the face of the face of the field. It's just not a risk you want to take when you have a very front-footed and intense Calgary side right now.
McCann with the ball forward, trying to play it inside the fullback, but Abdu wasn't on the same page. And Michaela Moore brings it all down to walking pace. Savitsky and Rolfsummer. Further wide for Ali Green. Lees relying on Karpenko. And now it's Montreal's turn to slow it down with Whittaker. It's a bit like a game of chess, this. It's certainly a tactical battle. Both teams have set their stalls out and both have ridden their luck at times. But an hour gone and it is still a deadlock in Calgary. Lees striding forward for Montreal. Whittaker trying to find Boychuk, just about did. Tried to play it forward in one movement.
You're seeing there in their defensive shape. You have Robertson picking up Bilbao. You have Savitsky sitting on Hess, and then you have Doherty Howard doing a very good job at shutting down that channel and not allowing Paquin or Boychuk to come off the front, because that is where Montreal has found a lot of success in the past, through both of those players coming off the front, being able to spin and combine and create a lot of dangerous opportunities. Right now, their defensive shape is so compact, so organized, that they're giving Montreal a very hard time at being able to find feet and create something dangerous.
Activity on both benches, we're hearing, but nothing can happen until the next break in play. Steer couldn't quite get there in between the two white jerseys. Haas, Lees, Schenk, who may be one of those players about to depart. Maybe those changes can now take place. Indeed, Montreal are going to bring on Jody Smith, presumably as a direct replacement for Arashenk. We're going to see Carly Johnson, the Australian, on wearing 15. A couple of goals, takes over from Christy Gray. On the left-hand side of that front three, and Grace Stordy, her race is run, and she is replaced by Kaylee Brooks, who can also play at fullback. So pretty much like for like changes there, Jess.
Yeah, I think right now we've seen Calgary be able to dominate on that right flank. And I think that is, you know, we saw Schenk struggle a little bit, being able to keep up with Thurton. So I do think that was a smart move. She was looking a little frustrated, potentially losing a bit of confidence as it went on, just hoping that she was able to shake herself and get out of it. But just seemed a little bit too much in her head, and being able to find the preciseness in her passing, as well as getting caught a little too high and giving Thurton too much time and space. But I also am very excited to see Johnson come in. We've seen what she can do, and I think that they're so close that if anyone's going to make that difference, it's going to be her for this Calgary side.
Yeah, keep an eye on the Calgary number 15, Carly Johnson, Australian striker, born and raised in Sydney, and already has 2 NSL goals to her credit. Likes to generally operate on the left-hand side of a front three. But if you give her an inch, she'll try and take a mile. Was a little ahead of her. Also recently called up for her first senior Australian internationals. She's already represented her country at youth level, but the Matildas have 2 friendlies coming up against Argentina in the near future. First involvement for Jody Smith, taking over at left back, wearing 17. Abdu, haven't seen the best of her yet. Up against Johnson, who dispossesses her. I'll have that. And then it's a weak pass, not quite up to the speed of the game. But Johnson is always ready to get stuck in.
Yeah, we're seeing Abdu struggle a little bit today. She's not showing her best form. She slows down a little bit too much here. It's very difficult to beat a player, especially one of Callie Johnson's caliber, when the ball is standing still and you're standing still. You do need to do it at pace. You need to have a bit of movement, and that's too stationary to create anything dangerous from.
Abdu yet to have a shot in the game, which by itself is somewhat unusual, but there's plenty of time to go. 25 minutes or so plus stoppage time for this stalemate to be broken. Forward by Hess. And the ball in towards Pakan. Bukovic has time to chase it down.
You see Paquin sort of raise her hands a little bit. It was a good early cross. It was great recognition by Sauvé to play that early as Paquin was running even with the back line. But there just has to be a more clinical touch to that. You can't overhit it that way. It was also just Paquin. Boychuk was a little bit behind the play, wasn't able to get up there as it passed Paquin. So I think that, you know, that's what they're missing right now, that connection, that ability to execute the final pass, the final cross, the final shot.
Madonna. And help from Lees, back for Karpenko. Under pressure, forced to clear. Whittaker calms it down, help from Janea Robertson. Savitsky, square ball for Green, who is dispossessed and is a little bit out of position now. Time for her to recover though, as Smith takes over for Montreal. Took a deflection. Did it on the way through? I think it did. So it will be a Montreal ball. Smith will take herself. Well, I wonder whether he's satisfied or he's thinking, no, we should be a goal up here. Or whether he's thinking, maybe we're a little unfortunate and maybe it's one of those days where we have to take what we can get. Coaches always play their cards close to their chest, rarely display emotions. Well, some of them do. Whittaker almost caught in possession, but got away with it. Lees takes over, plays it for Abdu. Hugging that right touchline. It's a shove in the back. That's a little crude.
Johnson really putting her stamp on the game.
Well, she's been on the field, what, 5 or 6 minutes, and she's been involved in a couple of those. But now she's got to get back and defend with her teammates. Just pacing off the 10 yards. Abdu is certainly thinking about taking it. Sauvé offers the left-footed option.
Would love to see this floated in just about the top of the 6 for someone to be able to crash in there.
Abdu it is. Decent delivery as the heads go up. A little short of the 6. Up. And then overrun by Lees. And the danger passes once again. Extraordinarily, despite all the goal attempts at both ends of the field, look at that stat at the top of your screen. Just one single shot on target so far in this game, and that was in the first half by the Wild. And the Roses have yet to get a shot on frame. Now then, Danielle Steer, ball inside. Oh, that's disappointing. I think she could have taken on a couple more strides herself. Shows the offload, but it was inaccurate.
There's been good build-up from both sides. I think, again, we've seen Calgary be a little bit more purposeful when they are in possession and creating more dangerous opportunities. But we're seeing Montreal, when specifically, excuse me, wow, that got a tongue twister there. But I think, you know, we see them specifically in transition when they are getting opportunities. They're sort of rushing their final pass. They're making a decision, but it's not coming off precisely off their foot the way they want it to. There's just there's a lack of clinicalness for them in that final third. That's what they're really lacking right now.
Steer goes down, hugs her right ankle. Play goes on around her. Smith and Steer, Capadonna. Well, Steer was sort of the meat in the sandwich there, wasn't she?
Yeah, I'm not sure there was much in that. I think she might have rolled her ankle on the way down herself, but as far as contact, I don't think there was much in that.
It can be painful. Now Thurton round the back of Smith. Still Thurton. And the white jerseys were there in the form of Capadonna at the expense of another corner. Thurton has been a constant threat, hasn't she?
Yeah, she continues to show her ability and her mentality about going for it, about taking players on, and just hoping that one goes her way, being able to get that cross in the box. Capadonna being able to deflect that out this time for a corner, but they've had multiple corners, so...
Well, we just saw the stat there, 5-0 in favour of the home team. They just need to execute one. Doherty Howard towards the edge of the 6. And they keep the ball going. It's plenty forward in purple. For Calgary, Green and Doherty Howard. Double teamed, trying to find a way through. There isn't one. And Montreal a chance to clear. Wolfsomer had time to compose herself. Savitsky.
You saw Abdu raising her hand. That would have been the perfect switch if Paquin was able to get that off. That is where Montreal thrives. It's those transitional moments. They have so many numbers going forward, catching Calgary with all those numbers in the box. But yeah, unfortunately, Paquin's not able to connect that to Abdu.
Inside the last 20 minutes in Calgary. There were no goals the last time the Wild played here. What would they give for one in the next 20 minutes or so? In the meantime, Whittaker with the throw for Montreal. For Abdu. Johnson is making a nuisance of herself, couldn't get hold of the ball. 50-50 ball there again. Smith did well. On the turn. And the ball for Paquin, again trying to turn. She was caught in the action of turning. It will be a free kick for the visitors.
Sometimes applying that pressure when someone's back's to goal can work against you. Like in this aspect, she notices it, but she grabs her just a little bit, realizes she's beat. That's her only way out of that.
Kaylee Books, the offender. Karapenko. Capadonna. Trying to find Paquin again. The Books in the way to good effect this time. And Lees. Have a switch around the corner. Maybe there's some room on that right-hand side for Montreal. Was that a shove in the back? Referee saw nothing wrong. On we go. It's getting a little feisty down there. Fans love it. Thurston again. Inside one. Just the ricochet took it away from her being able to control it the second time and make that burst into the penalty area.
I would like to see that back, Nigel. I don't know. There would look to be a bit of an arm extension there. I'm not sure if that wasn't a foul on Boychuk by Johnson. She did well to get back, but I'm not too sure.
Play to the whistle, isn't that what they always told you?
Yep, absolutely. If you get away with it, just run with it.
Doherty Howard, possibilities here, and Lees spotted the danger in the nick of time. She's barking out instructions at her fellow defenders. Use your head, be aware, is the clear message from Julia Lees, because there was very nearly a chance out of nothing there. Changes on the way. 2 more changes for the Calgary Wild. Going to see the introduction of Sarah Griffith, I think. Confirm those changes for you in just a moment. Maddie Wilson is on, midfielder from London, Ontario. And yep, Sarah Griffiths is the other change. Steer's day is done, as is Sarita Thurton. Well, she's run her socks off. A little disappointed to see Thurton go because I was enjoying her performance, Jess.
Yeah, she definitely made an impact for this side. I think that, you know, she's somebody that we spoke about before the game and what she did and showing her strengths, and she displayed that time and time again today, causing so many issues for that left back on Montreal.
Now, was this a foul or wasn't it? Wojciech in full flow. Push from Johnson. Seems a fairly obvious foul. The referee did not whistle.
Yeah, you saw a bit of that extension on the arm from Johnson. I'm not sure how the referee missed that, but hey, if I'm Johnson, I'm running with it.
Quarter of an hour to go in Calgary. Still the deadlock between the Calgary Wild and the league-leading Montreal Roses, who both played out goalless draws in their last games. Maybe a little bit of history repeating. More changes on the way, as you saw there. We'll find those substitutions for you in just a moment. Books. Tanya Wojciech is withdrawn, and Laurie Thibault comes on to take her place. And thinking about it again, it's always rising.
We see Paquin being very, very active off the front, trying to find the ball because she hasn't been able to find it in the spaces. She's doing well to find space, to get the ball at her feet, demanding it, looks up, tries it. We know she can strike it. They just haven't quite been coming off for her. She leans back just a little too much in that, causing it to go over the bar. But you love a player that tries, you love a player that has confidence, and when she has the quality of Paquin, you want her to try it time and time again.
Meanwhile, off the ball, Gabrielle Lambert, the substitute goalkeeper for Montreal Roses, who is on the bench, has also shown a yellow card for her protestations. Jodie Smith with the throw for the Roses. Can they break through? Or can the Calgary Wild get that elusive goal and send the fans home happy? Abdou, arm on the shoulder again. Referee is playing the advantage. It might be a very good advantage as well. Sauvé. It's just out of play, just out of the reach of Paquin.
I think, Nigel, another thing that we're going to start seeing time and time again as the season continues is some new faces getting more minutes, people's roles changing a little bit just because of the amount of travel that's having to be done. You can't play the same 11 for 90 minutes every single matchup. It's just impossible to be able to survive that. So I think we're going to see new faces, new partnerships, and there will be some growing pains potentially.
Sauvé across the face of goal. Abdou couldn't quite get there. And Whittaker was too far behind the play, but more danger. They need that clinical finish, somebody to take a chance, throw their body at it when it comes across the face of goal. Abdou lingered on it too long. Savitsky picked her pocket, but then given away again. Savitsky with the foul again. Referee's going to let it go. Doherty Howard head up, looking for the long ball forward. Karpenko will retreat to the safety of her penalty area.
You're seeing a bit of frustration from this Montreal side every time there is a poor pass that doesn't come off the way they want. The idea's there, but they sort of drop their heads, and you see it in their body language. I would just love for them to continue with the resilience we've seen from them for this whole season so far. I know we're early in, but they've worn their heart on their sleeve the whole time, and I think that, you know, they can't put their heads down because it's not necessarily going their way. Just continue to try it, and I think it will come together for them because of the quality that they do have.
Attendance at McMahon Stadium, just over 3,500, 3,502, I'm told is the official number. Hess, Montreal in white. Point on the road wouldn't be the worst result, but they are hungry for more. Sauvé dispossessed as she was about to make her entry into the penalty area. as we approach the final 10 minutes. Books, ball in hand.
Yeah, this is great recognition by Sauvé to look up. She takes her time, recognizes that, hey, there's somebody running into the box. I got to get rid of it here. But just Abdu, not enough hunger from her, not very many numbers in the box. And that's one thing that Montreal has struggled with, having numbers in the box, having that intensity and that grit coming from more than one individual that's crashing.
Michaela Moore needs some running repairs. It is late in the game. Whether it's an injury or a little bit of fatigue, I'm sure we'll discover. But certainly the Wild don't want to lose her in the last 10 minutes. She's rock solid as a defender. And as I mentioned a little earlier, she could be more than useful in the set pieces at the other end of the field. Meanwhile, Lydia Bedford stalling her players just to keep it going, keep believing, and maybe that goal will come. So a temporary stoppage for both teams. Time to rehydrate and go again. This might well have happened. There you go. Yeah, just that hamstring. She's battled on since then. That was some little while ago, but I think the hamstring has finally got the best of her. And if it's a strain, just get her off as a precaution.
Yeah, absolutely. I've definitely been in
going off? I'm not sure she is. Maybe she will battle on. Well, she's off the field for the time being. No, she wants to get back on, and now the referee does wave her back on, and so we're back to 11-a-side again.
I don't think she's stepping off in these final minutes, even if she is having a bit of a niggling injury. She's going to fight it out. She's definitely would be a big loss for them in that back line, not only from a leadership perspective, but in general.
The ball forward. Back for Sauvé. Ricochets of Rolfsema, and behind for a corner to Montreal. Which is their first of the contest. I was just trying to remember whether they'd had one. Well, there are the official stats. It is the first for the quadrant.
This is a big opportunity. Set pieces have the ability to change the entire matchup, regardless of who's dominating or who's not. Even if you're having a horrible game, if you're able to get a set piece and finish off of it, you're able to walk away with that win sometimes.
Charlotte Bibot will take the responsibility of the corner kick. Can she put some curl and whip and pace on it and find her teammates? There to be one. Went through a couple of Calgary players. Can Montreal keep it alive? Back into the area. Whittaker couldn't quite get there. Still, Montreal have numbers forward. And maybe now the counter-attack is on. Savitsky didn't have the legs, but maybe her teammates do, and then given away at the crucial moment. Still trying to win the ball. It's going to be a Calgary ball. It's going to be a yellow card. Perhaps for Jodie Smith when she gets back on her feet. I think she's going to see the referee brandish a yellow card in her face. And the counter was on there, and there is the yellow card.
Yeah, I think right now we're seeing the intensity and both teams really wearing it on their sleeve. She was the one that turned it over. She wasn't going to allow them to create anything. She did wrap her arms around her. Definitely the right call by the referee. But we're seeing that intensity from both sides right now. They're both creating opportunities. They're both catching each other in transitional moments, but neither of them can really connect that final pass to get on goal.
Anna Karpenko setting the wall, making sure she's got her angles right. Green might go for it from here. Jodie Howard might as well. Chips it forward. And in the end, It all fizzles out to nothing. Johnson couldn't get there. Just when we thought we were going to see another blockbuster from 30 yards.
Yeah, I thought that we were potentially going to see that, but I think that that was a good idea. She did put just the amount of float on it that was needed, but it just was a little too far and bounced out of bounds before Johnson was able to connect with it.
Smith. Montreal were a little careless again there in defense. Not the first time it's happened today. And they've got some more defending to do. Across the face. Oh, off the post and in. It's the goal they've been waiting for. It's the goal that the crowd wanted to see. And it's Janaea Robertson. Off the post and in. And a first home goal for the Wild. With 5 minutes to go, it might be the winner. Calgary lead Montreal by a goal to nil.
This is a great goal by Robertson. We've been saying, Nigel, we want to see them get on the board. We want to see someone score a goal, and I think Robertson's been great for them today. This is lackadaisical from the Montreal side. They do well to be able to repossess this. Griffith recognizing the run from Robertson at the top of the box, and she does so well to strike that towards goal. One-timer, doesn't even think about it. She's like, I'm going to try this. And she absolutely executed. Very well-deserved goal.
From Delta, BC, to a hero in Calgary, Janaea Robertson has finally broken the deadlock. My goodness, it's taken a long time. I wonder whether they can find a second. But I think you'd have to say on the balance of the play, and it's been a long time coming, that Calgary just about deserved that lead.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that they've done well to create a lot of dangerous opportunities. And sometimes when you have a game filled with those opportunities and you don't get one, the team that maybe isn't doing as well in creating dangerous chances has one opportunity to get on goal, and you end up losing from that. So I think that they needed to get on that. They needed to get on the board. Neither of these teams, I think, were that clinical in the final third today, despite creating great chances.
But, well, talking of clinical, as you said, Robertson took it first time.
Absolutely.
And terrific efforts off the inside of the post. Karpenko couldn't get there. And a really smart finish for the opening goal. Janaea Robertson, her first goal in the Northern Super League.
There's a lot of technique that goes behind that, being able to hit it one time, but also strike it well enough that your body is over the ball and it is hitting the frame.
Now can they hold on? Abdu trying to curl one. Couldn't keep it down. Disappointing from Abdu. Could see what she was trying to do. Robertson may be the hero of the hour, but she's not going to complete the game. She can watch from the dugout for the remainder, because she's going to be replaced by Tegan Stewart. Another look, Griffith with the ball across. First time Robertson, bang, off the inside of the post. Thanks very much. And the Wild go wild.
Yeah, that was a great goal. The more you see it, you realize how great it was, just from Griffith's ability to look up, find Robertson, who was waiting for it, calling for it, demanding it, wanted to have her strike on goal, and then her quality to be able to put her laces through that, strike it towards goal, and get her team on the board.
I'll tell you what, it's a goal worthy of winning any game. It may not be the winning goal, but it was a heck of a strike from Robertson. Johnson on the far side, trying to provide the overlap as well. Abdu having her shirt tugged. Was she? No. Referee is right there. It'll break for Calgary again. And Montreal just having to belt it away and clear their lines and just relieve the pressure. They haven't looked convincing defensively in the second half.
No, they are. Calgary's doing a very good job at stretching them. They're pulling them out of their positions. They do play a zonal defense, and I think right now they're struggling to be able to keep up with Calgary's movement and when to go and when to step and when to stay. And Calgary's just doing a good job at capitalizing on it, specifically, again, down the flank and getting crosses in the box.
Falls to the substitute, Tegan Stewart. Ball across the face of the 6-yard box again. This time it does roll behind for a goal kick. 30 seconds of the 90 to go. We're hearing there will be a minimum of 5 additional minutes. Confirm that for you momentarily. Smith, left-footed, Pacan helps it on, trying to find Abdu, but Rolfsema spotted the danger and launches it into row F. When in doubt, kick it out. Coming together again. Ball is stopped. There is confirmation. We are going to have a minimum of 5 additional minutes.
Seeing a bit of that frustration coming out in Whitaker, shoving Griffith a little bit.
Sauvé has been up and down that line all afternoon. Can something happen? Big challenge, important challenge from Moore. Now Tegan Stewart, couple to beat. That'll do as long as it's down that end of the field. Montreal can't hurt them. Montreal are fighting their opponents, and now they're fighting the clock as well, Jess.
Yeah, this Montreal side needs to step it up just a little bit, get on that front foot. You are seeing moments of good build-up. You're seeing Sauvé try things.
Abdu, is she onside? And bravely off her line. Listen to the ovation for Stephanie Bukovic. Sometimes as a goalkeeper, you just have to put your head in where it hurts, and you have to be brave.
Yeah, this is a great ball through, a great turn by Paquin, being able to recognize Abdu's making that run. Good by Abdu to make it, but I think, you know, there's nothing more scary than a goalkeeper coming out at you full speed when you're also running full speed and trying to get that ball by them, so that was well out by Bukovic.
3.5 minutes to play. Ball is still alive. Whittaker's trying to hustle it out. Now the whistle goes. Louise is stopped in her tracks. We're going to have another stoppage in stoppage time. Now, it would appear so. Marie-Soleil Baudouin just pointing to her watch, saying, I'll add some more on the end here. So we're not done yet, Jess. There is still time, potentially, for Montreal. Griffith and Whittaker coming together on that far side. Oh, well, hang on. Bibeau, right, raising her hands to an opponent. The referee is keeping a keen eye on this. It's being led away, Bibeau, and wisely so. Don't force the referee to make a decision and go for cards here. 2 yellow cards. Jody Howard and Whittaker both in the book.
A lot of intense emotions coming through. It was just a... I was expecting Whittaker to get that yellow card. You're seeing her get a little intense, a little frustrated, a lot of shoving on Griffith, specifically. Doherty Howard's stepping up to defend her teammate.
It's a Montreal ball, and they just want to get on with it. Calgary, of course, trying to keep it down that end of the field, as you would expect. But the white jerseys just need to get it forward. They've got 2, maybe 3 minutes to fashion an equaliser. Smith on the charge against Stewart. Kept in play, is it? No, not quite, frustratingly for the Roses. And Kaylee Brooks in absolutely no hurry to take the throw. Confirmation of those cards for Whittaker and for Doherty Howard. A game that has been robustly contested by both teams. Just one goal. Will there be another? Is there time for another? Smith takes over. Sauvé trying to find Pacan. Savitsky volleys it clear. Almost gets a standing ovation. The fans don't want it anywhere near that penalty area. At least the majority of them don't. And a few more precious seconds off the clock, Jess.
Yeah, and in these final moments, this is when you got to keep your head for both sides. One that's chasing, you know, that equalizer, and the other that's trying to keep their opponent off of the scoreboard. So I think right now keeping their cool and not letting the frustration get the best of them would be in both of these teams' best interest.
Calgary have maybe 30 seconds to survive, maybe 60. Can Montreal break their hearts? Hess around the outside. And then Moore is going to be penalised for the yellow card. She dove in. Referee didn't like the challenge, and Michaela Moore is the latest to go into an ever-filling notebook. And more importantly, Jess, you get the feeling that if it's going to happen, it might just be the moment for Montreal with this set piece from this angle.
Yeah, this is potentially the last chance of the match, and you know, this is where they need to capitalize. Again, I said it earlier, set pieces have the ability to completely change the game. So this is a golden chance for them, and hopefully they can, you know, crash the box, bring their grit, and just get on the end of it.
Bibeau will probably just have this one last chance to find a teammate and find an equalizer for the unbeaten Roses. But that unbeaten start to the season is hanging by a thread. Ali Green will pursue the ball. It's not going to go out, I don't think. She's going to have to play it. And that's the final whistle. The Roses are finally beaten in Calgary. Lydia Bedford and her players can celebrate a hard-earned victory. Janaea Robertson with a goal worthy of winning any game. And Calgary Wild rise up the table. The first team to beat the Roses. Calgary triumph in dramatic style, Jess, by a goal to nil.
Yeah, I think this is a really exciting matchup for this Calgary side. There were so many things in their last game that Coach Bedford wanted to work on heading into this, whether it was staying connected defensively, it was being on that front foot, it was bringing that intensity. They did all of that today, and they were able to translate it into a goal that led them to win. I think from Montreal's perspective, it was a bit frustrating. It wasn't that they didn't create chances. We saw them in transition, find the ball, and take people on, but it was unfortunately that final pass that was really lacking from them. There was just a bit of a lack of clinicalness, and then you saw them get, you know, the adversity got the best of them again in the ending of this game, getting frustrated, forcing passes.
One of the criticisms that soccer always gets from sort of lukewarm soccer fans is, well, there's just not enough scoring. There was only one goal in this game, but it could have been 5-4.
Yeah, it absolutely could have been. Both of these sides were creating chances. We saw Calgary, again, creating so many crosses time and time again. And we also saw Montreal do it. We saw Sauvé put a couple in the box. There just wasn't enough from them in regards to, you know, creating those overlaps that we've seen them do so well, have those overloads on the flank for Montreal. But overall, I think, you know, not their best performance from Montreal's standpoint, but it wasn't horrible. There was some bright moments. They just have to come out and learn from this.
Second clean sheet in a row for the Calgary Wild, and that's encouraging. It proves that their defensive operations are working. All smiles for the Wild. We've got the game stats coming up in just a moment for you. And as I said, there were so many chances at both ends, but remarkably, only 2 shots on target in the entire game. And one of those, of course, was the goal scored by Janaea Robertson, as Lydia Bedford talks to her players, congratulates her players, stay with the process, stick with what I told you, and the results will come.
Yeah, and I also think, you know, neither of these sides really, I think it was quite even, despite Calgary maybe making the most of their chances and getting that win. I think that both sides created those opportunities. Neither of them really, it was in favor of, you know, no one was controlling that rhythm, that dynamic. I think there were moments that Calgary was, but there was also a lot of transitional moments where Montreal was able to break it up and get spouts of possession. So I just think that, you know, this is a great win for them, a lot to be proud of, and yeah, just a great thing to come off of, especially at home, being able to get that first win.
Fans were loud and proud, and the players acknowledging their passion, going to support them. Here are the stats. As we say, remarkably, just 2 shots in the entire game on target, none for the Roses, but there were plenty of efforts on goal, 10 apiece indeed, and the possession almost even, Stephen. There was very little to choose between these two.
Yeah, very even match. You can see it in the stats here, both of them with 10 shots. Montreal just not able to convert any of them and get any on frame, but again, both of them did play some good soccer, were able to find their moments. Just one came out on top.
So, an important win for the Calgary Wild. What does it do to their place in the standings? We've got those lined up for you. There we are. They started the day in 5th place. They've moved all the way up to 3rd on goal difference, just behind Ottawa Rapid and Montreal Roses rise. I mean, they could have gone 6 points clear today, but that first loss of the season means their advantage at the top of the NSL standings is just 3 points. And Calgary Wild, their second win of the season, up to 3rd place on goal difference. An absorbing game between two committed teams, separated by a wonderful strike by Janaea Robertson, which takes Calgary Wild up the standings and leaves the fans with plenty to smile about as they make their way home in Calgary. They beat the Roses by 1-0 on behalf of our entire team. I'm Nigel Reid and Jess Lisi. Thanks so much for watching.